Hi Year 13, welcome to these videos again. We'll look at questions from the paper 2 mock. Again, we'll do one question per video, try and keep each video quite short. So the first question to really sort of underline the lack of review that you've done, because it's a very easy question if you've done your revision, so you know how to get access into the question, okay? I think I saw almost all of you try to do something remotely sensible, which was to rearrange the first equation to W equals 2IZ, and then substitute W. So you got Z, this thing, minus 6IZ equals 5 plus 5I. Okay, so I gave you a point, basically, if you did that. But from there, we got stuck. I mean, and really shouldn't have, okay? We need to find out what W and Z are. And W and Z are complex numbers. So remember, we can always express a complex number as a real part plus an imaginary part, okay? So if we let W be equal A plus BI, and we'll let Z be equal to C plus DI. Okay, and swap out Z and replace it with a real and imaginary component form. Okay, now remember what this star thing means. This means that this means the conjugate pair of Z, which is C minus DI. Okay, it's conjugate pair. So we're going to say that C minus DI minus 6I times C minus plus DI, because that's its conjugate pair, is equal to 5 plus 5I. Okay, now let's expand the brackets. C minus DI minus 6CI, and then we're going to get, well, I times I is negative 1, so we're going to get positive 6D. I think it's 5 plus 5I. Right, now let's try and write the left-hand side in its component form. So we're going to get C plus 6D. Then I think we're going to get minus 6C plus DI. So we're just factoring out the I. Okay, and that is equal to 5 plus 5I. Now what we've got is both sides of the equation are written in the form where we've got a real part plus imaginary part. So here is the real part, and here is the real part on the right hand side. So we can match them. So C plus 6D must be equal to 5. Okay. And then we've also got the imaginary part, which is this, okay, is equal to the imaginary part here. So we've got minus 6C minus D is equal to 5. Okay? So we need to try and solve for C and D now. Let's have a look at how that's going to work. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to multiply. Let's multiply the top one by 6. So 6C plus 36D equals 30. Minus 6C minus D is equal to 5. So adding them, we're going to get 35D is equal to 35. So D must be equal to 1. And if D is equal to 1, then what do we get? We're going to get C plus 6 equals 5. So C is going to be equal to negative 1. So we can now show you that Z is equal to minus 1 plus I. Okay, minus 1 plus I. And once we know Z, it should be easy to find W. Let's just clear some space. Let's use green. So W, we've got this equation here. W is going to be equal to 2I times what Z is, which is minus 1 plus I. So I'm going to get, remember I times I is negative 1, so negative 2 minus 2I. Okay, that's going to be what W is equal to. Okay, hope that makes sense. Remember, do your revision. Remember that we can write complex numbers in this form.